Hi, my name is Crystal, and I'm the Deslob student. I'm having a lot of cognitive dissonance, and if you've watched any of my other videos before, you'll remember what that means, because I've explained it a few different times, I believe. I've got a little bit of a cold, and I ran across this Psych2Go cartoon animation thing that talks about the 8 signs that I'm being, that I'm suffering from narcissistic abuse, which I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around because I've been down this rabbit hole before where I honestly thought that's what it was. I honestly thought that's what my relationship was all about. And that's why I left. And that's what a lot of my videos have talked about is emotional abuse. And I'm also trying to figure out how to move out of my mom's and move back in with my family someday, or figure out if I can live on my own again. And so this merry-go-round keeps me spinning for quite a bit. Anyways, I'm gonna listen to this video and do a reaction and commentary about it. So I probably won't show you the full video. I'll just show you the parts that I do agree with, and I'll leave out the parts that I don't agree with, because I don't think all narcissistic abuse is the same, and I definitely don't think that my husband has a personality disorder. I think it's more or less just very similar to what this video describes, what we're going through, what I'm trying to work with within myself. All right, let's watch the video.
Many people are not sure whether or not they're suffering from narcissistic abuse. Cognitive dissonance and the confusion that goes with abuse can have a lot to do with this. This is exactly what today's video is all about: the awareness and solutions to empower you up and out of narcissistic abuse. Please know this video is about absolutely any narcissist in your life. All the signs apply to any toxic relationship, such as a spouse, lover, family member, neighbor, or friend, anyone. So without further ado, here are 8 signs to know that you are suffering narcissistic abuse. 1. Your relationship is not kind, caring, or sane. Toxic relationships can be very confusing at times, making it difficult to know who is who in the zoo. This happens because the toxic person will spin it back on you, blame you, and will not be accountable. Remember, if someone hurts you and is not capable of a genuine apology, and you keep hanging out with this person, they'll continue to hurt you. They'll never be remorseful, and of course will continue the same behavior. The truth is, people either have a decent character or they don't. You can't change them for who they are. People like this simply do not have the resources to grant us a healthy, loving, and happy life, but we do.
All right, so I paused it after they talked about the first one. And the reason why I want to talk about this really quick is because I'm learning as a Deslob student. I'm not just learning about how to deslob my life. I'm also learning how to have a better self-love and self-acceptance and mental health. I can't speak. It asks, your relationship is not kind, caring, or sane. And my husband can be very kind and very caring, especially when he's trying to show me that he's got his behavior under control. But this last weekend, we were at a wedding for my cousin, and he got angry and he got in my face, and he never apologized, and he never took accountability, and I didn't think I did anything wrong, and even if I did anything wrong, that's not the way to handle it. And so what it shows me is that he's only on his best behavior when he's capable of being on his best behavior, but when he's triggered, he still doesn't know how to handle himself very well. And he's not capable of looking at himself in a critical point of view long enough to actually fix himself permanently, like actually get help. He might say, yeah, sorry, that was a bad moment for me. But he doesn't really get to the root on why he does what he does, or even admit to his therapist that he really wants to work on these things. It's always somebody else's fault for why he does what he does. Anyways, let's get back to number 2.
2. You're dealing with immature behavior and give up pieces of yourself to comply. A hallmark of narcissistic relationships is the person gets bent out of shape on hairline triggers that mature adults just don't get upset about. Also, they believe they're entitled to and expect preferential treatment, and can be nasty, demanding, punishing, and even explosive if they don't receive it. Are there things that you would normally be free to talk about to anyone, but the same topic may be unacceptable or risky with this particular person? And why do you feel so? Maybe if this person doesn't get their own way, they'll abandon you or threaten to leave you. And again, you start doing things outside of your comfort and value systems to stop this from happening.
All right, I paused it on number 3, right after number 2. I keep going back to this last weekend. What happened was I wanted to be with my family. I wanted to be mingling and talking, and I wanted to dance. I wanted to do the electric slide. I would love for him to have asked me if he wanted to dance. I also was torn with this feeling of wanting to be back at the house where my grandma was at. And so I was struggling with some feelings internally about what I wanted. But I knew that this moment was going to pass, and I was trying to make my decision in the moment on what would be best for me. And because I wasn't giving him my primary thoughts and my primary attention, all eyes weren't on him. I was kind of in a selfish mode of trying to figure out what I wanted. I ended up walking away too soon without exactly communicating where I was going, and he kind of threw a fit. And when I told him to calm down, he got in my face. Sorry, this is just too hard. I don't know if I want to share this with anybody.
3. You're angry, disjointed, and are behaving in ways that you normally don't. This is an important question. How do you feel with this person in relation to everyday dealings with other people? If you know you have integrity, can listen, have empathy, are capable of having sane conversations, and get along with most people in your life, and yet there's this person who brings out the worst in you, this is generally because your boundaries are being violated, and the normal modes of human operations don't stand. The circular arguments you're having make your head spin because they go around and round on unrelated tangents, points that make no sense. Narcissists state how disloyal your accusations of them are when confronted, or they argue with you to manipulate you into something unwholesome.
Number 3 was just too hard, because that's exactly how I feel. Every single day I feel disjointed. I feel like I've got him in my head. I've just been feeling his tug for me to come back to his house. And I want to be there with my kids, and I want to be there with a loving husband. But I'm so angry about this weekend. I needed to take some time out for me, you know? And I still have him in my head, making me feel guilty. I shouldn't feel this way. This doesn't feel normal. I hope you're listening, Crystal. I hope you watch this back. Let's watch number 4.
4. You find yourself trying to prove that you're a good person. Because the narcissist is regularly accusing you of all the things that they are and do, such as lacking integrity and love and care for people, being unfaithful, lying, making it all about yourself, wanting to use people for your own gain and more, naturally, you'll be incensed and try extremely hard to prove and convince them otherwise. This is another deadly hook that narcissists can get you enmeshed with them on. If you believe that your integrity, character, well-being, and safety is dependent on what other people think of you, then you're susceptible to this narcissistic behavior.
When I was living with my husband, I was always trying to prove to him that I wasn't the person he thought I was. He was always accusing me of wanting to date other people or leave him. This is really triggering.
5. You are mopping up the messes. Being connected with a narcissist has lots of drama, rough edges, and quite frankly means that disasters are always looming. Narcissists usually aren't good with detail, accountability, or sensibility. They fly high, seeking narcissistic supply and acclaim with little to no thought for doing the right thing. If your life is connected with one of these people, it's usual that you will be paying their fines, sorting out their messes and dramas, and even lying for them to cover their tracks. It's like this analogy. As you're watering their back lawn trying to keep it green, yours gets parched and turns brown and dies. This is how narcissists roll, and this is what happens to the sensible, well-meaning, responsible people who narcissists like to recruit into their lives. By walking away from people like this, we can heal and restart our life with self-responsibility.
Self-responsibility. Self-responsibility. That's what I'm constantly trying to do. And I'm in this in-between stage right now, and I know that this is the safest bet for me, but I still feel like I'm being pulled back in, and I feel like I'm going willingly. My soul is crying out for me, begging me not to go, but I feel like I'm going anyway. Crystal, stop. Slow down. This is why you're probably sick, is you've run that hamster wheel for so long. Your immune system is down. You're not getting good sleep. You're not eating right. You're not taking care of yourself. And now, let's watch number 6.
6. Your boundaries are being disintegrated. It's extremely common for people with poor boundaries to get involved with narcissists. You find it difficult to speak up, stand up for yourself, or hold boundaries with this particular person? And when you try to do so, are you often criticized, rejected, abandoned, or punished? You're likely dealing with a narcissist. As a result of that, you try to minimize the trauma and mayhem that breaks out by giving up on trying to assert your needs. Or maybe because you've dissolved into so many feelings of powerlessness, helplessness, and despair, you find yourself begging or pleading for your boundaries to be respected. Discovering that the narcissist has zero empathy for you and won't comply, it takes you down into an even deeper place of helplessness.
Wow. When I was living with him, I felt so helpless. I felt so depressed and I felt so depleted. And now that I got out and I got my own place and I was starting to feel good about myself, just when I started to feel good about myself, I started to feel the ground shake and the rug pull from underneath me. And I've been looking at my husband as the next viable option, which I really wish it was a healthy option. I really wish he hadn't have overreacted on Saturday, because honestly, it's not just an overreaction. It's still emotional abuse. To get up in my face and tell me how I'm wrong for not putting him first in that moment, for making me feel littler than him, and for him not being able to keep his anger under control in front of my family, for my family to have to come up to me and double check and ask if I'm okay. That's not okay. That's not okay, Crystal. You shouldn't be in a relationship where your family has to wonder if you're okay. Here's number 7.
7. You feel addicted, disjointed, and manic. A perverse addiction happens with narcissists. This is also known as trauma bonding. To find out more, you can check out the links in the description. Do you feel manic and unable to stop trying to contact or hook back up with a narcissist? Even when you know how much you continually get hurt by doing so? We can be horrified by how addicted we are to someone who treats us so terribly. It just doesn't make logical sense. It is, of course, very serious when it gets to a stage where we simply can't talk ourselves out of doing the actions that we know are putting ourselves back into the fire to get burnt again.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I know I'm trauma bonded to him. I can't stop waking myself up to this truth, and yet at the same time, I purposely allow myself to go back into the lion's den. I go back into the fire that's going to hurt me. And I have so many good reasons and good hopes and so much belief in him that he's really changing, and yet I know better. I know better. Crystal, you know better. Here's number 8.
And 8, you're suffering from abuse symptoms. Things are now very serious. When your emotional inner being has been screaming out for our attention and we haven't as yet pulled away and turned inwards to heal, then we start breaking down physically as well. It's likely that anxiety and depression and even greater issues like fibromyalgia, adrenal issues, PTSD, and agoraphobia start to develop. You lose interest in the activities, people, and self-care that used to grant you energy, as the toxic person in your life takes up more and more of your energy and focus. The shame and pain become so great that we may start hiding out from the world, lying to people, covering up, and feeling even more isolated in our traumatic feelings and symptoms. This is when we have to ask ourselves, how bad does it have to get before we awaken to the truth? There are varying degrees of narcissism, and there are also people who can just be clueless and selfish, but not necessarily afflicted with narcissistic personality disorder. If someone in your life does not share your values and doesn't care for your feelings, then this is not a healthy relationship for you. As soon as we try changing other people, it's time to pull away and say to ourselves and them, this is who I am and what I need for us to continue. We may lose a lot by leaving, as many of us have. However, by leaving, we can achieve the greatest gain. Finally turning inwards to integrate with ourselves so that we're in a position of wholeness and can be in control of our choices and have the power to look after ourselves and create a happy, healthy, and truly loving life. Do you relate to any of these signs? If you do, what do you plan to do next?
It's a great question. What do I plan to do next? It's 6:30. I'm going to put on a mask and I'm going to go to my 12-step group because I'm not out of the woods yet. I am so far into my growth and my healing. I can't give up on myself now. I can't allow something as silly as a little cold to stop me from continuing my self-care. I'm okay. I'm just not feeling very good. And I am scared of myself and how close I fly. Like a moth attracted to the light that's going to zap him to death. I'm afraid of myself. I'm afraid of the level of enmeshment that I can easily get into with my husband, that trauma bond. I'm afraid of myself more than I'm afraid of him, and I don't want to live in that fear. I don't want to let the fear control my life. I just don't know what I want right now. I am so full of question marks. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for listening to this really long video. I hope you've learned something like I have. I just need to get going to my 12-step group. It helps me learn to stop watering other people's yards and learn how to water my own. It's okay to help somebody water their yard as long as you've been watering your own and you've got enough for you too. You just can't be. You understand. Thanks for your support. Talk to you later.